We've all had to deal with difficult managers at some point in our careers. Instead of wallowing in self-pity, follow this 4-step process to deal with a difficult manager at work. The first step is to assess difficulty versus value. Basically identify where your manager falls in what I call the difficulty value matrix. On one axis, we have value ranging from low value to high value. On the other axis, we have difficulty level ranging from easy to difficult. So your manager could fall in either of these 4 quadrants: high value easy, low value easy, low value difficult, or high value difficult. Now if your manager falls in the difficult low value bucket, which means they're difficult to work with but are not adding much value, you should walk away as soon as you can. If that's not at all an option, or if you're unsure of the value your manager brings, go to step 2. Step 2 is to identify the type of difficulty. If your manager is difficult to work with, on one hand, they may be highly demanding, overly critical, rude, or so on. But on the other hand, they may be totally disinterested, toxic, or disrespectful, which I call type 2. If they are of type 2, you should walk away as soon as you can. No matter how much value they bring to the table, it's not worth it if they are toxic. Now, I'm not saying that type 1 is all okay and good, but if they are not toxic and they bring some value to your career, you can consider if it makes sense to work with them for a bit longer. All of this, of course, depends on how much value they bring to the table. Assuming your manager is not toxic, go to step 3. Before we look at step 3, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button if you want more tips on dealing with people at work and how to be happy. Step 3 is finding value. In this step, you should identify what specific value your manager adds or can add to your career. Most people don't even think about this. Identify your manager's strengths. Are they great at growing people? Are they great at something that you can learn from? The key is to stop looking at what your manager says as criticism and to look at it from a perspective of value. In every difficult situation with your manager or every criticism directed at you, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I get better? Use this to grow your skills and get better at your work. You have your needs and ambitions on one hand, and your manager's value and skills on the other hand. You should identify the overlap between the two. So for example, if your manager is great at growing people and you want to grow fast, it's an overlap and probably a good fit. And it's a good fit even if your manager is difficult to work with, unless they're toxic. If you find that your manager adds no real value that overlaps with your needs or ambitions, then walk away. However, if you do find an overlap, stick with them. Even if your manager is difficult to work with, they will likely add a significant amount of value to your career and can help further your ambitions. Step 4 is giving or bringing value to your manager. Now, it's obviously great if your manager is bringing great value to your career, whether they are difficult or easy to work with. However, your equation with your manager can never be a one-way street. Remember, your manager is also someone who's trying to grow their career, so you should always bring value to the table. Especially if your manager is difficult to work with. One of the best ways I know of turning it around is to ask, what value can I bring to my manager? What problem can I solve for them? Ask them what is the most challenging thing that they are thinking about, and solve that for them. Again, if you have your manager's problems and ambitions on one hand and your value and skills on the other, you should find an overlap where your skills can solve your manager's problems, or you can bring value for their ambitions. What underpins all of these 4 steps is actually great communication. I believe the key to dealing with a difficult manager effectively is great communication. The more you communicate, the better you communicate, the more easy it will be to work with your manager. However difficult your manager is to work with, believe me, if you communicate well, add value, and solve some of your manager's problems, they will become easier to work with. And if you want to know about the 2 hidden reasons why you're not getting promoted at work, watch this video.